What's a story, amigos? This is Kino with some cool stories for today's story time.
It's dress-up day at Storytime, and a pickled Kino joins the chase to stop that pickle.
The pickle was too fast for them all. He had a great time zigging and zagging and thumbing his green pickle nose at his pursuers.
Then Joanna Cassidy tells us the tall tale of a very tall lady and a very big bear.
Swamp Angel took a hold of that bear and tossed him so high, why, he was still on his way up at nightfall.
Major funding for Storytime is made possible by a grant from Helen and Peter Bain, so that families everywhere can share the joy of reading with their children. Additional funding is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the annual financial support from viewers like you.
Guess what I am? I'm not gonna tell you yet, but you see, it's dress-up day at Storytime, you see, and everybody gets dressed up like one of their favorite books, and I'm dressed up like one of mine. It's a book I'm gonna read to everybody in just a few minutes. I want to see if Mara can guess what it is. Oh, whoa, here she is now. Hey, Mara, Mara! Wow, or should I say, meow. You really look cool. Guess what book I am?
Oh, my goodness, Kino, why are you racing around like that? And what are you?
You have to guess, Mara. You know bunches of books. Which one am I?
Gee, I don't know.
I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
I'm sour, and I'm crunchy, and I make your mouth pucker up.
Oh, well, you're not a kiss, because although a kiss will make your lips pucker up, it's not sour. Oh, well, oh, wait a minute. Let me see. Ah-ha. You are a pickle.
Yep, I'm a pickle. But you have to guess the name of the book I'm from.
Oh, well, there's got to be pickle something or something pickle. Right, something pickle. Is it something pickle? Is it pickle something? Is it... Oh, Kino, wait a minute. Stop it. You're making me dizzy.
Mara, you've almost got it. Here's another hint. Okay.
Oh, I know. Stop that pickle.
That's it. Stop that pickle. And I'm going to read it.
Oh, that's great, Kino.
Hey, wait a minute.
Uh-huh.
You look like a kitty cat.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Wait a minute. Are you Puss in Boots?
Meow. Maybe. Maybe not. You'll have to wait for the story picks to find out.
Hi.
Hi.
Whoa, hi. Yeah, sit down.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Whoa, you guys really look cool.
Yeah, John. Well, they are dressed up as their favorite story picks, too, Kino.
Oh, yeah. Hey, what am I? Can you guess what I am, huh?
A pickle?
Yeah, I am. I'm dressed up like a pickle, and that's what my story's about. A really, really fast, clever pickle. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. This book is called Stop That Pickle, and it was written by Peter Armour, and the pictures were drawn by Andrew Shackett. Here we go. It was lunchtime when Ms. Elmira Deeds waddled into Mr. Adolph's deli. "I would like a pickle, please," she said. "Why, certainly," said Mr. Adolph, wiping his hands. He unscrewed the lid on the giant pickle jar and looked inside. There was only one fat pickle left floating in the brine. Mr. Adolph tried to spear the pickle with a long fork, but each time he did, the pickle swam to the other side of the jar. This pickle did not want to be eaten. Mr. Adolph was rather embarrassed by this turn of events, and he began to dig around in a drawer for some tongs. As he was doing this, a pickle climbed out of the jar on his little green legs, darted across the counter, and ran out the door. Eek, said Miss Elmira Deeds. No one had ever seen a pickle move quite so fast. Stop that pickle, shouted Mr. Adolph, giving chase. Down the street ran the pickle. Mr. Adolph quickly pooped out and had to sit down on the curb. Reclining on a nearby plate, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich heard the alarm and leapt up. Everyone knows that a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is not the fastest sandwich in the world, but it does have great endurance. The sandwich chugged after the pickle. You guys say it with me, okay? Stop that pickle! It shouted. As the pickle and the peanut butter and jelly sandwich passed a bake shop, a fat braided pretzel climbed down from the counter and stumbled into the street. It ran a few steps behind the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, scattering sesame seeds as it went. Stop that pickle! Cried the pretzel. Enjoying the sun on a nearby tree, a lovely green pippin apple heard the pretzel's cry and shook itself loose to join the chase. It rolled down every hill it could. A crowd of toasted almonds, 17 of them, came skittering down the street. Where they came from is anybody's guess. Ready? Stop that pickle! They peeped with their little almond voices. A scurrying crowd of raisins and a cake donut came right behind. The last to join the parade were a cool bottle of grape juice and an elegant vanilla ice cream cone sprinkled with chocolate.
Yum.
I could eat all of these.
Yeah, looks good, huh?
Drink this. I could drink that.
They all had just one thing to say. Stop that pickle! But the pickle was too fast for them all. He had a great time zigging and zagging and thumbing his green pickle nose at his pursuers. Sometimes he would stop and read a newspaper to give them a chance to catch up. They were the slowest food he'd ever seen. On and on went the chase. It seemed that it would never end when, oof! Rounding a corner, the pickle collided with a young boy. Stunned, the pickle lay there. The collision had knocked the wind out of him. Quickly, all of his pursuers gathered around. You've caught the pickle, they all cried to the boy. What should I do with him, he asked. Why, eat him, of course, they shouted. They were all a bit beside themselves. He's just a silly pickle. Now, it just so happened that the boy had been playing hard all morning long and somehow had misplaced his lunchbox. He was terribly hungry. He looked at the pickle, who immediately began to cry. He cried big, briny tears. The boy had a better idea. He ate the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, the fat braided pretzel, the lovely green pippin apple, the 17 toasted almonds, the handful of raisins, the cake donut, and drank the bottle of grape juice. Finally, he polished off the ice cream cone. The only thing left was the pickle. The boy looked at the pickle and shook his head. Who ever heard of eating a pickle after ice cream? Everybody, stop that pickle!
Very good, Kino.
Well, what'd you think of it, guys? Did you like that story?
And Anthony.
It was funny. Yeah.
Did you like it? How about you, John? Did you like Stop That Pickle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I liked it too, but I don't know. Do you think this really happened? Do you really think that a pickle can run away and have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich chase it? No.
No. I don't think so, Mara. But you know, I love the ending. It's so funny. You think the boy's gonna eat the pickle too, but then he doesn't.
That's right, because what does he eat instead?
An ice cream.
Yeah.
Ice cream
Right.
cone.
That's right, an ice cream cone. And whoever
You have to
heard...
eat an ice cream cone before you eat a pickle.
You think
That's
you have
right.
to eat an ice cream cone before?
Yeah, yuck.
I don't know. If I had an ice cream cone, I don't think I'd want a pickle at all.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
You eat the pickle before the
Before the ice cream cone. I'd eat the pickle 7 days before the ice cream cone because it would be very yucky if I ate it right afterwards. Well, yes, this is a very tall tale.
It's this tall.
It's this tall.
What's a tall tale?
Oh, a tall tale is a story that is absolutely incredible or exaggerated, and it could not have possibly happened, but it's told as if it did happen. And again, Stop That Pickle is a tall tale.
Did somebody say tall tale?
Hi, Joanna.
Hi. I did.
Well, for dress-up day, it just so happens that I am dressed up like a very, very tall tale that I brought with me. It's called Swamp Angel.
Gosh, that's a weird hat. What kind is it?
Oh, Kino, it's called a bonnet. Swamp Angel wears one all the time, a big one about the size of a circus tent.
Gosh, a circus tent? That does sound like a tall tale.
Well, I'm going to tell you all about it, Kino. Come on over here, Elizabeth. Come sit by her. Bring your balloons. Get your balloons. Atta girl. There we go. Come here. Come on up here. That's right. All right. Well, this book, Swamp Angel, was written by Anne Isaacs, and it's illustrated by Paul Zielinski. You like that?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. On August 1, 1815, when Angelica Longrider took her first gulp of air on this earth, there was nothing about that baby to suggest that she would become the greatest woodswoman in Tennessee. Why, that newborn was scarcely taller than her mother and couldn't climb a tree without help. Can you imagine that? Now, although her father gave her a shiny new axe to play with in the cradle, like any good Tennessee father would, she was a full 2 years old before she built her first log cabin. And by the time she was full grown, she was second to none in buckskin bravery, performing eye-popping wonders in the bogs and backwoods of Tennessee. When she was 12, a wagon train got mired in Dejection Swamp. The settlers had abandoned their covered wagons and nearly all hope besides. And suddenly, a young woman in a homespun dress, why, she tramped towards them out of the mists. Why, she lifted those wagons like they were twigs in a puddle and set them on the high ground. "It's an angel!" cried the gape-mouthed pioneers. And ever since that time, Angelica Longrider has been known as Swamp Angel. And to this day, there are stories about Swamp Angel that spring up like sunflowers all along the wagon trails. And you know what? Every one of them is true. Once upon a summer in the Tennessee wilderness, there prowled a huge bear with a bottomless appetite for settlers' grub. Why, that varmint would rip the door off a food cellar and gobble up a whole winter's rations without waiting for a napkin. He came to be known as Thunder and Tarnation, because those were the words most commonly heard when he was spotted in the neighborhood. Many tried, but no one could catch that low-down pile of pelts. Well, he was so fast and wily and his fur so thick, the gunshot never even got through to his skin. Now, before long, Thundering Tarnation had cleaned out half the root cellars in Tennessee. The settlers were desperate with no food to get them through the long winter ahead. So they sent word across the land of a competition to kill that bear. The reward for the successful hunter was to be Tarnation's enormous pelt, and that was equal to a whole year's hunting and worth a lot more on account of his fame. Beyond that, the winner would earn a very powerful reputation and the title of Champion Wildcat. Now, it is well known, and a fact too, that Tennessee daredevils are as plentiful as dewdrops on corn. And pretty soon, gosh darn it, there was a long line of men in coonskin caps just waiting to sign up for that hunt. When Swamp Angel stepped in line, one of those buckskins called out, "Yeah, hey there, Angel. Well, shouldn't you be home mending a quilt?" Says she, "Quilting's men's work." "Well, then, how about baking a pie, Angel?" "I aim to," said she. "A bear pie." Well, their hoots and taunts didn't stop Swamp Angel from signing up and setting out to find that bear. Tarnation left a pretty clear trail. The first hunter was found wearing an empty molasses bucket and a silly grin on his face. Seems he tried the sweet approach and got licked in more ways than one. It took 10 strong men to rescue the next hunter from his own bear trap. Well, now a third set out with a hardened hickory club, and he ended up waist deep in toothpicks. Another was discovered wandering in circles, clutching 2 fistfuls of fur. His head was completely bald, his beard mighty scarce. It seems like he traded pelts with Thunder and Tarnation and got the worst of the bargain. Well, pretty soon, Swamp Angel was the only one left who hadn't met up with Tarnation. Until one morning, she awoke from dozing in the shade of a creek to find that 4-legged forest of stubble staring at her across the stream. They faced off for a few minutes. "Varmint?" says Angel. "Well, I'm much obliged for that pelt you're carrying." "Roar! Roar!" says Tarnation. Well, then they waded into that stream and they commenced to fight. Swamp Angel took a hold of that bear and tossed him so high, why, he was still on his way up at nightfall. Even when the first star came out, there was no sign of him. Angel began to think she absolutely lost him in the sky. Now, our Angel was bound and determined to get Tarnation's pelt. Well, just at that moment, a tornado whirled by with a spout clear up to the clouds. Swamp Angel grabbed a hold of it and swung that twister around like a giant lasso in the heavens. Why, she roped that bristled bandit and brought him crashing back to earth. Locked in a bear hug, Swamp Angel and Thunder and Tarnation wrestled across the hills of Tennessee. Why, they stirred up so much dust that those hills are still called the Great Smoky Mountains. They fought 3 days and 3 nights without a break. On the 4th day, they wrestled their way into a lake that was 50 feet deep. Tarnation pinned Angel to the muddy bottom with one of his gigantic paws. To get a breath of fresh air, she had to drink the whole lake dry. Well, that was mighty refreshing, says Angel. But it didn't look good for Angel, because down in the muck under that mountain of mange, no matter how she struggled, she couldn't free herself from Tarnation's paw. But then Angel had an idea. She opened her tobacco pouch and emptied it onto the end of Tarnation's nose. And he sniffed and threw back his head and sneezed so hard the mud flew off the lake bottom and Angel right along with it. She hiked back 10 miles from where she had landed, and the fight commenced once more. Swamp Angel and Tarnation finally grew so tired they fell asleep. But that didn't stop them. They even wrestled in their sleep. Like Tarnation snored louder than a rock slide, while Angel snored like a locomotive in a thunderstorm. Can you do that? Why, their snoring rumbled through the earth, tumbling boulders and shaking trees loose. My goodness, by morning, they had snored down nearly a whole forest. The second biggest pine tree in Tennessee landed smack beside them. At the top of that tree was a beehive the size of a hill, oozing rivers of honey. Well, you can imagine that after 5 days without food, Tarnation couldn't resist. He just rolled over in his sleep and sank his jaws into that sweet, syrupy torrent. And as he guzzled and slurped, Swamp Angel snored down one last tree. And that tree fell right on top of Thunder and Tarnation. That bear was as dead as a stump, and considerably flatter. Oh, when Angel awoke and saw what had happened, she plucked off her hat, bowed her head, and she offered up these words of praise. Confounded varmint, if you weren't the most wondrous heap of trouble I ever come to grips with. That night, Tarnation fed everyone in Tennessee. I can tell you that. It was the biggest celebration the state had ever known. While there were bear steaks and bear cakes, bear muffins and bear stuffing, bear roast and bear toast. To wash it all down, there was berry wine, where you could hear those waistcoat buttons popping as far away as Kentucky. The leftovers filled all the empty storehouses in Tennessee just before the first snowfall. Swamp Angel decided to keep Thunder and Tarnation's pelt as a rug. It was too big for Tennessee, so she moved to Montana and spread that bear rug out on the ground in front of her cabin. Nowadays, folks call it the short grass prairie. Now, you may think no more was ever seen of Thunder and Tarnation, but that is just not the case. Back when Angel threw him up in the sky, he crashed into a whole pile of stars, making a very lasting impression. You can see him there on any clear night. You like that?
Oh, wow. That was a tall tale. Hey, and a good one. John, what was your favorite part of the story?
The part when all the men, they lost.
Yeah, and she won. That's a boy. Yay!
Yeah, and Swamp Angel won.
Very good.
Did you have a favorite part of the story, Elizabeth? What was it?
I like the end of the story.
Wasn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Yeah, because have you ever seen that? You ever seen the stars that are in the shape of animals? You ever look up in the sky? What's your heart?
Sometimes I see a rabbit shaped out of stars.
Yeah, I see that too.
Well, it's time for our very special dress-up story picks. As you can see, Elizabeth and John have dressed up as their two favorite books, and I've dressed up as one of my favorites.
Well, was I right, Mara? Are you Puss in Boots?
Oh, not quite, Kino, but that was a very good guess. No, I'm Catkin, and this is my story pick for today. This is the story of a very small cat who takes a magical visit into the world of little people.
Oh, and how about you, John? Well, what book are you dressed like?
John Henry.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you really are.
Yeah, I know that book. John Henry was big and strong and fast, kind of like Swamp Angel. Yeah.
Now let me see if I can guess what Elizabeth is dressed up like. Well, let's see. I see farm overalls and balloons. Are you the storyteller from Balloon Farm? Yes.
Yeah.
Let me see the cover of that book. That's right.
Oh, I know that story. It's about Harvey Potter. He was a balloon farmer. Boy, talk about your tall tales. Have you ever seen a balloon farm? No.
No.
And that's our story time for today.
And remember, everybody,
Keep a story in your heart.
And don't tell any tall tales. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Today's Storytime books are Stop That Pickle, written by Peter Armour, illustrated by Andrew Shackett. Swamp Angel, written by Ann Isaacs, illustrated by Paulo Zielinski. Catkin, written by Antonia Barber, illustrated by P.J. Lynch. Harvey Potter's Balloon Farm, written by Jardine Nolan, illustrated by Mark Buhner. And John Henry, written by Julius Lester, illustrated by Jerry Pinkney. You can find these and other books at your local library.
Major funding for Storytime is made possible by a grant from Helen and Peter Bain, so that families everywhere can share the joy of reading with their children. Additional funding is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the annual financial support from viewers like you. Storytime is a production of KCET Los Angeles.